All right, great to see you guys. Episode 118 for, well, I can see it on the little screen there, April 27th to May 3rd, 1917. Start off with you, Tolemykus, since you've got the quote out here. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I haven't popped on Telemachus's quote. No support for the provisional government. The utter falsity of all its promises should be made clear. Petrograd on April 16th, 1917, Vladimir Lenin presented the April Theses. Neat that you mentioned that, because I was watching Indy Nidell's thing last night, and he had just mentioned that Lenin had just arrived in Russia last week, and that he had shown up at some speech to do it. And I'm assuming that's it. So that's totally cool. The first person to pop on, which is kind of unusual in a weird way, because Charles Latora is such an early bird. But anyways, William Arends, great to see you from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Harro, Bosma as well. Super great to see you. Hope your both of your wives are still doing great. Charles Latora, Brian R. Smith, I guess the election's over and you're back to your original avatar, so it's neat to see you. Hope you're doing well. And away we go. Oh, what did you got put on there? Oh, great to see you, Meandering Mike. And I'm assuming, I didn't want to take the chance, but I'm assuming this is you. And if it is, wow, thank you so much. This was like, I was like, what in the world? I couldn't believe it when I saw opened up the package yesterday. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a picture of that and transform the live stream picture for it. So, oh my God, I was actually showing it to my neighbors yesterday. I was like, look how lucky I am. Anyways, they were going off to a bike ride. So anyways, there we go. Let me go and share the screen and we can start from there. I've got to remove this one and then add this one to the stage. Boink. There we go. Please let me know if you guys can, everything looks okay. I also do want to start off right off the, well, actually, welcome everybody. And as you can know, 13 days to Can Games, which means 2 Fridays from now, that'll be Can Games. So next Saturday, we won't have a live stream. And the Saturday after that, we won't have a live stream as well, because I'm going to be busy. Did I lose a bet, Chris? Oh, you mean this thing here? Here, if you want to have a super duper ultra close up look, I'll tell you what happened, Harro Bosma. It was either that, okay, it got to a certain length, and it's been going on for ages, that Meandering Mike blew me away, because I was like, how is this possible? We were just talking about it on Wednesday evening. Anyways, you have no idea. I'm like just freaking out, man. I was so happy. And the weird thing was on Thursday night, I'm not kidding you. So it probably was even at the, I just didn't notice it. But Zoe and I, no, it did arrive on the Friday morning. Zoe and I were actually watching footage of the ISS and whatnot, and Gemini stuff and Skylab and whatnot on Thursday night. So I think it's totally cool that this arrives the next day. That was so neat. What was I going to say about the 2 weeks thing off? Is that what I was mentioning? Yeah, 13 days to Can Games. But I think I'm going to, well, you're going to see later on, William Arends. I'm super glad that you provided so much material. So what I did was the material you gave me earlier on in the week, just shortly after, and I do apologize that I also didn't give you any prompts earlier on in the week, but it seems like you were busy anyway, so it wouldn't have really mattered. But I still want to do that going ahead. Is that I recorded that bit. I have not done I didn't do any of the war summary. I didn't record it. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll just do it live like we used to do way back when. I'll see how my voice is. If I keep going back to the mustache thing, I keep forgetting to mention it because I was going off a sidetrack, Harro Bosma. Anyways, it got to a certain length, Harro Bosma, that I had a rag with me constantly to have to do it because it was dripping all the time. And yes, 100%. 100%. As you know, even the French were having to say adios to a lot of stuff. That and was like, what? You can't be doing that type of thing. But it's like, yeah, if you want your gas mask to fit, you're gonna have to say goodbye to mustaches and all the crazy ass stuff. Anyways, I'll leave it on. I got to remember, keep things on for a long time. So anyways, I got to the point, Harro Bosma, I was like, okay, is it going to be coffee? Because I started it. Look, 1 drop of coffee on a book, especially an expensive book, is 1 drop too many. Let's be honest. And I was always on the lookout of dripping on my journals and my books, and I just went, you know what? It's either the coffee or the mustache. What do you think's going to go? It wasn't, look, I didn't spend hours. Oh my God, the dilemma that, no. It was easy to do. So adios. And that's it. That's the way it goes. I'm enjoying the fact that Tolemykus, a little bit more than a flavor saver, to be honest with you, just due to the fact that because I use cream, after I was even mentioning to Zoe Dufour, I could smell like, stale milk. I was like, this is so gross. So that's the end of that. I'm now, what's weird though is for several hours later, I was still carrying a rag with me. I was like, I don't need it anymore. It's okay. I'm free. Anyway, so here we go. Live stream fact checker and interesting tidbits. We'll go and take a look at. Some of the articles that I saw this week, but I just wanted to show you the little bits. And we'll get to it because I really want to focus yet again. Like I was saying, thank you very much, William Arends. So I did record your first chunk of stuff. I'm just loving it. But the thing is that the second bit stuff that you gave after me moving, changing the font size and everything, turned out to 11 pages. And so what I thought, well, I just had a stroke of genius this morning. I was like, wait a minute, I'll just do the first article. We'll do this live, talk about, there's tons of material to talk about anyways in that. And then the second one I'll record later on during the week, and I'll just put that as a recording later on in the week. So we'll kind of keep current with what's going on, because there's been a lot of stuff going on this. Well, we're going to get into it, but there seems to be maybe perhaps the first mention of a bulletproof jacket this week in the whatever. Censorship is something I would really like to start looking into a little bit further. So every time I saw anything related to censorship this week in articles, it kind of I went a little bit towards that. Submarines in the food crisis, both ways. William Arends, you've also been supplying us with information on that. It's Lord Beresford. We're going to see him down there. He wants numbers. He wants hard facts. None of this BS, yet again, with the censorship and trying to massage the message and all that stuff. He wants to really know what is going on with the shipping losses and so on and so forth. Let's get down to business and find out what's really, how close are we to starving to death, essentially. Oh my gosh, William Arends, and when we get later on into your article there, it talks all about that, the naval blockade and the reasonings for Germany getting into the war and the allusions to Napoleon. And we had seen that last week with the Napoleonic thing with the Nivelle offensive and all this stuff. It was just I'm like, oh my God, everybody's getting into Napoleon lately. It's been great to see. Oh, fantastic, Zoe Dufour. I hope you're having a great day. Anyways, let's go. The official text. That was another nice thing to see this week in the newspapers, is that they actually have official texts from some of this. Oh, I didn't know that there was a silk bulletproof vest made first available in 1901. Thanks. This one, I think the article was saying the guy was able to stop a bullet from, I don't know what caliber or whatever, for something like 60 yards or something like that. I'm sorry. I got to remember that people are doing something else. It's not me just looking at it all the time. No more mention of Nivelle. I saw that this week. I was like, this yet again, partially with the censorship and everything. I remember April 16th, 1917, Nivelle said, this is another thing we'll be looking at about later in the recorded bits for the ATA, is that I remember General Nivelle with his offensive there, and with the side, the diversion there with the Battle of Arras, which is, I think, also encompassing with the Vimy Ridge and whatnot. The British were going to try to divert some of the German troops over. Remember, the Germans knew everything of what's going on ahead of time. Everything it seems they know ahead of time. We're going to start seeing a lot of corroborating evidence as well that way, which is totally neat. Remember, so 48 hours, we're going to make a major breakthrough in the German lines and start meeting up with the British towards Cambrai and so on and so forth. That did not happen. But yet again, and then you're going to see all of a sudden, magically, we find out this week that Pétain is now in charge of everything. And there's no mention of Nivelle. It's almost like whatever. But it was neat to watch the show last night there with Indy Nidell mentioning, he was saying, actually, if you take a look, Nivelle actually, his plan did do some progress. It's just he was so over the top about what it was going to be able to accomplish that it did not. And that, oh my God! And there's already starting to see the cracks of the French mutinies starting. I think it's with some of the African troops that are there that are just refusing to fight and so on and so forth. And there's been, I think, open drunkenness and so on and so forth. I remember the open this beautiful, beautiful trench warfare book about the Cassette. Well, the communication back and forth between trying to get each other not to attack each other. And I remember reading later on in another book when they were talking about like how did the Germans not know about the French mutinies and so on and so forth. And I started thinking afterwards with this book, maybe they did know, and they just didn't do anything. They just, that was part of the tacit, peace or whatever. Just curious, like I've said before, this book is it completely changed my outlook on starting to see things differently towards that war, especially yet again that other thing. I don't know when it is. Maybe it's for the Third Battle of Ypres there, where Passchendaele and whatnot with the Canadians. And yet again, I think they moved like the entire 3 divisions or whatever. Well, I think there were only 4 of them or whatever. And they moved them, and they're like, oh my God, it was a masterful stroke of secrecy and whatnot. The Germans didn't notice. Maybe they yet again did know. They're just not like, they know that if they attack, you guys are going to attack back. I don't know. I just find it absolutely fascinating. So anyways, here we go. So there's the Lord Beresford dude. When will the French mutinies occur? I think, like I said, they're already starting to take a look. We're starting to see the very, very beginning. I don't have an engagement question of the week this week. I've been trying to be very low key, trying to pare down some of my stuff and just trying to reevaluate. It's kind of like a meandering mic thingamajig of looking at things. So here's our points. So let's get into the, we'll start off with that right off the bat. Like I said, we're going to go back. We'll go back up to the headlines, but I want to get into some good stuff as well. So here we go with who or what am I in World War I? And we can see that actually the person that jumped quite a bit was KilroyWasHere last week because he guessed a lot and got the right one. But Tolemykus, you're now in second place. So Brian R. Smith is an unusual position for that person, that's for sure. Anyways, here we go. I've been in the news recently. Not a lot recently, but I have been in the news recently. So who or what am I? And then I'm going to put it in the comments as well once I get the thingamajig set up. And I'll put that in the comments. Oops, come on now. I keep doing that weird thing. And the other thing was, all right, we're going to have to give Meandering Mike a point for rare earth metals. Let me put this in the thing. You're going to get a point, but you are incorrect. All right. Oh, darn it. I'll have to do it some other time, but I found a really neat quote from a book that talks about, I'll give you the quote quickly. Austrian troops did well in the fighting. I can't remember who is the quote. Oh, maybe it's Mackinson. I think it is. It is strange how the proximity of the piccolo, the German spiked military helmet, affects their attitude in battle. And I was just thinking afterwards, it's like, oh, I remember with Der Weltkrieg, if you got German troops inserted with the Austro-Hungarians, you can, you can increase their resistance to retreating and stuff. I thought it was so neat. So I'm going to give MM a point. And then, nice one, William Arends, considering. But you are incorrect with Lenin. Nice one. And Brian R. Smith's going to say Pope Benedict the 15th, and you are incorrect, but you're going to get a point for sure. And I'll give you your second clue. Well, like a real one, essentially. I'm old, like 13th century old, and perhaps even older, because I'm not really sure exactly how to put it. So, but I was looking, and it seems like it was 13th century. So that's where we're going with it. I'll put it in there. And Tolemykus says shoe flux. You're going to get a point. I don't even know what the heck that is, but you're incorrect. All right, you're going to get one, and then we're going to go back to the banners. Boink. And you're going to have to help me out a bit in a minute, Tolemykus, because I can't remember what we did with your logic puzzle stuff. If we did anything last week, I'm not really sure if we just did half of it or something and then went back, and I don't know. Hold on here. Ooh, Harro Bosma, you're close. I got to shut up. But you're going to get a point for the Ypres Town Hall. And, whoa, yeah, I love it. Meandering Mike's going to get a point for our Teutonic Commons. No. I think I got a bit of me. I think bit of me got a little too hot over the years, and many times people have had to put out the fires. Who am I? And I'll put that in the comments as well. Or no, I have not yet. Okay, so I'll put it in here. All right, that's your next clue. All right, and here's your next one. During part of the French Revolution, I was used to store grain. Who am I? Or what am I? I was most likely the right way of framing it, I would assume. Oh my gosh, sorry, I didn't notice some of your other ones there. Tolemykus, you're going to get a point. I didn't see the war one. Sorry, I have to pop that in. Interesting. I thought for sure somebody would get. Oh, Tolemykus gets screens. Nice one. But you are incorrect. So I'll put it in here. Charles de Torres' coffin. Nice one. But you are incorrect. There you go. All right. And your next clue is I was turned into a hospital at the beginning of the Great War. Who am I? And I'll put that also in the comments. Well, it keeps always doing that. Goes back to the very, it's like, oh, you don't know what I see. So it's StreamYard's a bit of a weird thing, that's for sure. Okay, yeah, I was turned into a hospital at the beginning of the Great War. Oh, Charles Latora can't say it. But you're close. And you're going to get a point for monastery. And William Arends, you're even closer with Scissors Cathedral, but you are incorrect. But you're going to get a point for sure. Goodness gracious me, eh? You saw a picture of it this week. I'm not kidding you. If you're on my, I should say, if you're on the channel and took a look at my whatevers. All right. And here's the last clue, I think. I sure took a beating during the war, and they started to fix me up proper back in 1919. What am I? Or yeah, what am I? Let's see if someone got it. I'm going to put it in the quotes. No one got. Oh, you're so close, Charles Latora, but I can't give it to you. Notre Dame Cathedral. And you guys can see that one. I sure took a beating during the war, and they started to fix me up proper back in 1919. Well, okay, I'll give you an extra hint. It's something cathedral. There we go. So you guys can go through a bunch of cathedrals and try to figure it out. I guess that's the way to go. All right, I'm gonna take off the. Yeah, I'll leave it on. All right, let's go back into. I'm gonna get rid of the trivia things because I don't need to show that bit. Oh! Here come the comments. I think someone's gonna probably get it. Nope. William Arends is. Sorry. Now William Arends puts his. I get you. Soissons Cathedral. But you are incorrect. You're going to get a point, though. Well, you get lots of points, even with all the scissors. So there you go. All right. And Harro Bosma's Royal Pavilion. I don't know where that is. Oh, my gosh. You guys are freaking me out. Procedural Cathedral. You are incorrect, Tolemykus. I'm just going to. Jeepers, jumping people. I'm really surprised. All right. So let's get back to the narrative and take a look at some stuff. And nice one, William Arends, but you are incorrect. Oops, I got it wrong here. Hold on here. There we go. Saint Quentin Cathedral, you are incorrect, but you're going to get another point. My God, you've got like 6 or 7 points now, I think. Geez, pretty darn good. Ah, boink! There, you did it. William Arends, you've done it. Oh my God, you get an extra 6. Wow, man, right on. Reims Cathedral, yes. There was a picture of it in those big bunch of, or was it the Reims? Yes, it was, as far as I remember. So I'm going to get rid of that. Hold on, get to the banners, and I'll put in the answer. Or did I ever put in the answer? No, I did not. It doesn't matter. So let's go to, oh, I don't have it on here. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Oh, there it is. Boink. And I'm just going to get rid of the banners. So you guys can see that properly. Yeah, there's Reims Cathedral. And it's, as you know, been mentioned quite a bit in off and on. And yeah, it was neat. As far as I know, that's why I was having a hard time here. Because it says down here that it was completed in like the 13th century, but then it goes earlier on. They start talking about earlier versions of it or something. Like here, I was just like, okay, I don't really, let's not get too technical or whatever. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it was interesting to find out about, yet again, all these other connections with Napoleon, and we're going to find out in a minute, which I think is totally cool. Yeah, guys, I was really happy to see you guys get that. So, and as well as that, we know it took a beating during the Great War, and they started to restore it back in 1919, which probably cost a lot of money. Okay, let's go back to the thing, and I'm going to get rid of that. And then we're going to show the video, which I don't think we showed last week. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. That'll be on it. No, it'll already be set up. Okay. Then we're going to go off into our, hopefully, towards Tolemykus's material and Harro William Arends' material. So hold on here. I just want to get to the playlist. It's only, yeah, I don't think we watched it. It's been like, what? I keep saying week in, week out, we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it. We don't. So, in the critical past, I do believe. Just got to get to it. I'm going to have to stop the screen and then get down to the thingamajig. I think it's up here. My gosh, it is. You know how long ago it was? It's listed as, well, I'm going to show you. It's listed as live stream number 115. Is that nuts or what? So, well, that, I know it drives me nuts, William Arends, when those auto things do that to me all the time too. It's like, oh, for goodness sakes. All right, so there we go. So there's 115. I'm going to make it much bigger. I'm going to get rid of me so you guys can see it far better. And like I said, it's only 38 seconds. And what did I say it was about? Hold on here. I want to read it again. It's British engineers are laying railroad tracks in Palestine in 1917. So obviously I thought that would be something worth, seems relevant with what we're doing. So here we go. Look at the amount of, I just love watching all this logistics involved, you know, and you still keep hearing about, I mean, this is just Palestine, they were saying, but I mean, up in the Western Front of like, okay, you know, having to wait for the artillery to keep coming up and so on and so forth. And oh, it's just amazing stuff. The ambulances. Neato. Okay, that's it. You got to see it. Goody. All right, now we're going to get into the fun stuff, I hope. There we go. I did want to show you this quickly, and then, like I said, we'll properly go on to whatever. This is a new exhibit they have at the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Iron Harvest just opened here. Explores the open wounds that the World War I battle. So I want to take a look at some. Not we're not going to like blow them up, but just some of the pictures here. There's a gas attack. Look at all that, eh? Holy moly. I mean, remember that? We've seen pictures even of a barbed wire way the heck up on mountaintops up in the, you know, up in the Alps and stuff. It's just crazy. Look at that. The trenches in Newfoundland Memorial Park in Beaumont Hamel. Wow. This is so wild. Anyways, let's get to taking a look at the other stuff. So hold on, I want to get to, yeah, let's go take a look at some at Tolemykus, at some of your stuff, Tolemykus. I'm not really sure exactly where well, we'll find out. I think I'll kind of clue in when I start going, okay, let's hold on, present, share the screen. There we are. And then we're going to go off to your stuff, William Arends, as far as I know. So as far as, yeah, the last time I remember, we were at the Smuggler of Louvain, Belgium, 1914, and then we went over to the disappearance of the Iron Serpent, Eastern Front, 1917. Oh my gosh! And I was trying to find out a bit more about. Hold on here. I know you guys like doing this weird thing here. I found out a bit more. I was like wanted to find out about the Iron Serpent because I remember that being a name of a. I'm not sure if it was a supervillain or a superhero in an RPG that I was playing. And so I went to look up Iron Serpent. I was like, okay, there must be something. Then I find out the Chronicles of Young Indiana Jones or something has an episode, I guess, of the Iron Serpent. I don't know if anybody's watched that. It's a canceled show. I don't know where you can get it now. The like I said, well, I guess you can get it off of Amazon or whatever. When I saw some of the episodes, I was like, oh my gosh, they talk to a lot of great war-related people. I was like, oh my, like they even goes to hang out with what's his diddle there, the Lawrence of Arabia and stuff like that. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so neat. Anyways, let's get down to the stuff. So where am I here? Make sure. Hey, I thought I had it for, hold on here. I want to make sure that I go to, where's the view? I want it. I have to get it to, there we go. Where are you? Where are you? Did we finish the Louvain one? Germany invaded Belgium as part of the Schlieffen Plan, aiming to sweep through the small neutral country to reach France. The problem is it's been so bloody long, man. My character was the Iron Servant. Oh, brother. I'll leave it on. What am I doing here again? I'm learning. Amidst the chaos, Father Auguste Vandermeer. Yes. We did this one. That's right. We did. Now we're going to go to, or I'm not sure if we did the actual, or did we? Well, the sky. No, I don't think we did. Oh, so you do know about it. Whoa. That would be, yeah. I'm actually, you know what, William Arends, I'm starting to think I may go and take a look at, look up that show. I'd really like to do. Yeah, I don't think we actually did take a look at this. Please let me know if you guys, if it's not big enough. These here. So that was the best course of action. Is B, to hide the coded notebook in a hollowed out Bible and send it with the trusted courier while Harrington remains hidden in Louvain. And what were we able to do? It was disguise Harrington as a local priest and move him through occupied territory using safe networks for safe passage, hide the coded notebook in a hollowed out Bible and send it with a trusted courier while Harrington remains hidden in Louvain, bribe a German officer known to take payments, stage a fire at a nearby building to create a distraction, and E, wait for nightfall and attempt to sneak through the German lines on foot despite the heavy foot patrol presence. I can't remember what F was, darn it. But I think I would have used A. So I'm wrong. I'm sure I said A. While disguising Harrington as a priest would work, German officers were inspecting clergy closely after being previous escape attempts. Oh, I didn't know that. Bribing a German officer, C, was too risky. You're darn right, as it was impossible to verify his loyalty. Creating a fire, D, would backfire, drawing too much attention and increasing civilian casualties. Yeah, I know, that just seemed like a train wreck starting. I was just like, whoever came up with that idea, it's like, no, we're not doing that one. Sneaking through German lines, E, was nearly impossible given the strict patrols. By separating the intelligence from the officer, Vandermeer ensured that at least the critical information could reach Allied hands, even if Harrington was caught. That's a really neat way of putting it. I've never seen that way of putting it before, Tolemykus, by separating the intelligence from the officer. That's pretty cool. Where am I here? In reality, the British officer remained hidden for weeks before Belgian resistance managed to extract him. But the notebook, smuggled out through a church courier, successfully reached the Allies, helping disrupt German supply movements. Wow, that's neat. I didn't know that. Okay, so really? That's neat. Oh yeah, that's right. Wasn't she also? Oh, everything's starting to clue in. Okay. So, anyways, here we go. Well, now we're into the Iron Serpent proper, Meandering Mike. Cool. The disappearance of the Iron Serpent, Eastern Front, 1917. By 1917, the Eastern Front was in turmoil. The Russian Empire was collapsing under internal revolution, and the Central Powers, particularly Germany and Austria-Hungary, saw an opportunity to destabilize their enemy even further. One of their key covert operations involved disrupting Russian supply lines and preventing war materials from reaching the front. The Iron Serpent, a heavily armored Austro-Hungarian train, was designed to deliver weapons and intelligence operatives deep into enemy territory. In March 1917, the train, disguised as a Russian munitions transport, was carrying a defector, a Russian officer named Captain Alexei Petrov, who had promised valuable intelligence on revolutionary forces and Tsarist loyalists still willing to fight. However, as the train moved through occupied Ukraine, it suddenly vanished. Oh my gosh. And I think this week, Ukraine is actually trying to get some kind of form of independence, which is totally cool. Austro-Hungarian intelligence suspected foul play, but reports were conflicting. One report claimed Bolshevik partisans had derailed the train and captured Petrov. Another suggested Russian loyalist officers suspected betrayal had intercepted the train and executed the crew. Whoa. A third stated that Ukrainian nationalists had stolen the weapons on board and set the train ablaze. So this is perfect timing, Tolemykus. The Central Powers had only hours to react before Central Forces located the missing train. A quick response could recover Petrov and the weapons, or at least prevent enemy forces from using them. Question: an Austro-Hungarian intelligence officer, as an Austro-Hungarian intelligence officer, what is the best course of action? A, send a rapid response cavalry unit to sweep the railway lines and search for survivors. I kind of like that one. B, bribe a local Ukrainian faction to recover the train before Russian forces can seize it. C, deploy a sabotage team. That sounds like the one upstairs. I mean, the one previous. Deploy a sabotage team to destroy the train before its cargo falls into enemy hands. Like, it almost seems like the same guy from up there. Like, hey, let's cause a fire. I'm like, oh, where's this guy keep showing up? Are you ready, Mr. Meandering Mike, with your option F? I hope you are, because I'll slow down. D, use radio transmissions to spread disinformation. Didn't we see this one before? This type of work with the French one. I think this worked, didn't it? Convincing the Russians the train was lost in a different sector. E, attempt a direct rescue mission, infiltrating enemy territory with a small elite unit to extract Petrov. And let's have got Tom Cruise. No, I don't think that's the one to use. So we'll wait for you, Meandering Mike, to come up with your option F. I'll say them again. Send a rapid response cavalry unit. I think that's the best one to use to sweep the railway lines and search for survivors. B, bribe a local Ukrainian faction. Deploy a sabotage team, or use radio transmissions, or attempt a direct rescue mission. Clues and false reports. A railway workers in Kyiv reported seeing the train intact just hours before its disappearance. A captured Bolshevik courier claimed that his forces had intercepted the train, but he gave conflicting details about its location. Russian telegrams were intercepted, but the messages were coded, and their full meaning was unclear. I haven't looked at the comment screen, but I saw something jump up, and my hope is it's option F. A pro-Austrian Ukrainian spy in Lviv was sent a message stating which would be, what is it? what do we call it in the old world? Lemberg, I think, is what it is on the Dervell Creek thing. Sent a message stating the train had been taken south, but another source contradicted this. Is that true? Is Lviv now used to be Lemberg? Please, someone let me know. Petrov had enemies in both the Tsarist and Bolshevik factions, making his capture or defection equally plausible. And I am lucky. Option F is available for all to use. Summon the ghosts of the soldiers of the Light Brigade to haunt the rail lines to allow the missing train to get away. Ooh, I'd love to see that scene. Oh my God. Meandering Mike, I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of, it's a Canadian artist. I can't remember the guy, the painter's name. Maybe it's Alex Colville, where the horse is on the tracks going towards the train late at night. And you just see this big whatever. It was freaky cool. Well, I'll let your option up for a while, Meandering Mike, up here. Yeah, and I saw your excuse for why it took so long for you to come up with an option F, and I'll read it in a minute. Discussion topics. How did espionage and covert operations shape the Eastern Front in World War I? What role did it? I mean, come on, let's be honest. We could probably just use one discussion topic each week, for crying out loud. Tolemykus, you supply so much stuff, it's not funny. So I'm going to pop in Meandering Mike's thing, and we're going to keep on going down here. What role did armored trains play in warfare during this period? I would so love to know about more about armored trains. I don't know about you guys. I always thought maybe in a weird way armored trains could be almost like mobile forts back and forth. But anyways, how did the collapse of the Russian Empire influence Central Powers' strategies? Oh boy, and as well as allies. Could the Central Powers have done more to exploit the Russian Revolution? How did local nationalist movements such as Ukrainian independence efforts complicate wartime operations? And thank you, William Arends. Yeah, I wasn't really sure. I remember getting confused sometimes when I was looking up modern maps, going, where the hell is Lemberg, kind of thing. So that was neat. Really neato. Okay, so we've thank you, Tolemykus, because now we're going to go off to William Arends' ATA. Like I said, I've recorded. I recorded. Oh yeah, okay. You're raining on my little fantasy parade for the mobile forts. Maybe we'll. Oh darn it. Anyways, let's go to, we're going to go to the, we did. You can see my little footnotes here. So, because like I said, the other stuff is, 37 minutes. You know what? We're going to take a quickie look at those pictures I wanted to show you very fast. And then we're going to go off to the ATA. I think that makes sense. All right, hold on. Just to kind of, a little up a bit or something. Hold on here. I'm just going to make sure that you guys can see it a little bit better. Yeah, Tolemykus. Yes, Tolemykus. I'm sad because I'm like, oh, darn it. Okay. Oh, cool. That would be neat. All right, here we go. Present. All right, hide your thingamajig. And there it is. Man-deflects bullet shot at 60 feet. Okay, it's not 60 yards. Success, but 60 feet. That's a hell of a lot better. As we know, successful test of a bulletproof jacket and headgear at a U.S. plant. I'm not going to go through the whole bloody thing. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I just was like, okay, interesting to know that. And like you said, Meandering Mike, the first one was back in 1901 or something. Or you're just trying to play with my little head again, probably. Whoa, my God, that is so cool. Thank you, Brian R. Smith. Oh, my gosh. Thank you for bringing that up. Canadian, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Canadian censor bans U.S. publications. Like I said, just more stuff to take a look at. Censor the censor. I think it's a lot of brouhaha. Some of the bit of the back talk that's coming about with the Americans joining the war. Oh man, that was a fantastic piece of trivia to find. They have self-laying tracks in case they get blown up. Neato. Oh my gosh, what is the book? It's by, ironically, Christopher Priest, not Prest. It's called is it Indoctrinaire? No, The Inverted World. That's another one of his things. And it's about this giant city that moves across, and they lay traps in front of them and then take the tracks in the back. It's a crazy book. I can't remember who he is. He's like, I am 362 years old today, because miles today. They do that's how they do. You got it. Anyways, let's get back to this. Spirit of the Press, more stuff about taking a look at what people bring in. I thought was kind of neat. Menace worse than admitted. Remember I was talking about Lord Beresford and whatnot. And they're just talking about that the submarine menace is yet again, is, you know, they just won't want people to know what's, you know, I haven't read it. I just was going to maybe get into it, but there we go. That's some more stuff to take a look at some point in time. And then here's that thing. Remember, I used this picture this week, but there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot mention of Neville. He's like just vanished. I don't see him anywhere around here. Do you see his name? Oh, there it is. When, however, General Neville was made General Linicio or whatever, it was said that Bataan, blah, 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 blah. Oh, not really. There's a lot of stuff. War's a Great Adventure. Oh, yes. There's Shackleton for you, Meandering, or Mrs. Meandering. Maybe I'll post that up later. Yeah, I was kind of shocked that he wanted to go and join the war. But remember, at the very beginning, he was willing to offer up his ship to the British Navy if they needed it, because he was just about to set off. Remember when he came back, he was like, "Who won?" And they're like, "Sorry, dude, the war's still on." I was like, "Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, this is Lord Beresford. I don't know anything about him. I'd like to go and look him up." But he seems to be putting their feet near the candle, or whatever the heck it's called. And there are more losses from subs. I'm taking a look. We're gonna have to shut up because I really want to get to. Yeah, thank God we get to go to William Arends' stuff, because I'm getting almost into a panic, because I really want to make sure that we. So it's just some really good stuff here. I've got my footnotes. Hold on here. So you got here, and here we go. And hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. Translator's note. I found these two articles. The first from the issue of Tuesday, 24th of April, 1917, titled, "Why Are We Still at War?" So William Arends, we're going to be doing that article. And like I said, for next week, 119, I'll have it recorded, post it, and then it'll be part of that will be soon a good end to this war. And the second from the issue of Sunday, 29th of April, 1917, titled, "Soon a Good End to This War." Both articles show at least the sentiments expected from editorial opinions in the German newspapers in April 1917. This includes what caused the war, the reasons to continue fighting the war, and what will bring an early end to the war. One thing is very clear, which is that neither article says anything about the assassination of Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary as being the cause for the war. Instead, everything revolves around the long-standing control by the English over the trade routes and the German desire for free trade and equal access to those routes. Berlin's latest news, Tuesday, 24th of April, 1917, the morning edition. Why are we still at war? The longer the war goes on, then the clearer is also its reason for its being, as it is seen by the internationalist social democrats and the middle-class Democrats about the aims of this war. It is not enough to establish that it is being waged as a defensive war, or for what reasons that we went on the offensive. Since the time of Bismarck, our love of freedom has been compatible with the honor of our people. On a side note, I really haven't started it yet, but tiny. I want to start seeing how in the world did Austria and Hungary and Germany become allies after the the Austro-Prussian War. I really want to see how that develops, because how do they end up like, it's just so neat. Anyways, here we go. We still have the sound of Ernst von Heiderbrand's speech in our ears, that we must be willing to offend with impunity against England. This was in reaction to the Agadir crisis, or Agadir Morocco crisis in 1911. It's got the little footnote thing there, just due to the fact that I want to know more about it. And it was interesting to see that, well, we're going to see it here right off the bat. This crisis was treated by Lloyd George as a matter of national honor, even though Morocco was to become a French colony. It's just neat to see their take on it, because I think a lot of people historically, even it doesn't matter who you are or whatever, seems to think that the German policy was an error that way. They caused everybody to kind of like even more solidify their treaties against Germany and so on and so forth. 2, it all revolved around the freedom to trade and navigate, unimpeded, with Hildebrand called the chink in the armor of England. I got to get my glasses out here, because I said in my little footnotes, does he mean that England was almost entirely reliant on imports? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Was that, like, I've heard this thing before as well about the soft underbelly of the British Empire. In a weird way, their strength was their weakness, or their weakness was. You get the idea. So the question becomes: why have our opponents thrust this Why have our opponents thrust this fight between peoples upon us? But only after much deliberation from the Reich's Chancellor and the other ministers of state are we finally able to acknowledge the real causes of this war, this life and death conflict. When we see the economic reasons for this war, it must be stated that they are self-evident. These included England's envy and jealousy of Germany, France's thirst for revenge. I mean, come on, this is fantastic stuff. France's thirst for revenge towards Germany, and Russia's national drive to expand pan-Slavism, threatening Austria-Hungary and the German settlements in Eastern Europe. Look, I'm just saying, this sounds like stuff like from a history book that I would read now. You know what I mean? Like, that's stuff that's been written down, like people have making conclusions and stuff. I'm like, holy moly, this is really neat. These national goals and attitudes would provide a pathway to a joint surprise attack on Germany. I just was like, yet again, remember what was it, 1912 or whatever, when I can't remember who it was. Was it not Joffre, darn it, Foch, I think it was. That was like, hey, we should go and invade through Belgium ahead of time and nail the Germans now, kind of thing. So I'm like, this is interesting. That, I don't know. I just find it cool. England might have been the author of this plan, but what? You know what I mean? Like, really? But the leaders of Russia had also striven to push towards the south for over 1,000 years to gain free access to the open sea through the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles. And I'm just, yet again, I find these, who's ever writing this, to be extremely well informed of the historical strategic situation. That's really good stuff, man. The shield of Oleg, a ruler of the ancient Rus, to the gates of Constantinople. As Russia wants access to world trade, so England wants total and unchallenged control of world trade, including all the routes and sea lanes for that trade. And yet again, I just find this very similar to last week's engagement question about what would have happened if Russia would have been able to find another a sea route to the Black Sea into the Mediterranean. Anyways, 6, England is jealous of all possible competitors for this power and would not want to let this influential position go without seeking to decide the issue with weapons of war. But did they want to only do this with the Navy only? Remember, we know that they have their little continental police forces that they zip around and they control the universe with their Navy. And then now they're getting suckered in. Well, they have been. As we know, it's 1917. So they've been suckered in for a long time of having to make a standing army, a big army, the Kitchener's army, and so on and so forth. That, we get the whole 9 yards. England controls the world trade routes with its powerful fleet and is at the center of world trade. Germany presents an ever more dangerous competitor, especially in the area of sea travel and commerce. England's subsidies of its trade routes are not enough to counter the prominence that Germany is gaining. I don't know anything about these subsidies. If anybody knows what they're talking about or a little bit more specific, I'd love to know. England was not content with a peaceful competition with Germany and would rather choose the alternative of war. Now we're going to get into some really good stuff, I think. Anyways, I actually have it. I have for footnote number 8, beyond juicy. That's all I've got written down here. England was reasoned that having Russia and France go to war with Germany is the least expensive way for it to shut Germany off from the rest of the world. Wow. That is my strategic planning that I play in my narrative world with Great Britain. And to see this written out in an historical document or whatever, I'm just like, oh, wow, this is sweet. I mean, it's the perfect way. Get your allies to beat to wear themselves. Oh, just perfect. My God, we do this. You even saw that with the SPI. I've been Meandering Mike and everybody and their dog have been telling me that's one of the things to do with the Austro-Hungarians and the Germans. Attack together against the Russians there on the SPI World War I 1914-1918 game. So that way I can let the Austro-Hungarians take some of the casualties and whatnot, like to really start thinking that way. And look what's happening. This thing is so neat. Anyways, let's get back to this. So this time we Germans cannot be content to fish in other waters, but rather must confront this challenge with our blood and our treasure, and be willing to step across our borders. Blood and iron, blood and treasure. Oh man, super cool. The contentious issues of this war can consequently hang on the battle for the freedom of the seas and the liberation of the world trade routes from the tyranny of England. Number 9. Oh, this is fun. This has been the main reason for the greatest of wars as long as this world has existed, and from no other kind of disputes. I don't know why I put it down there. I just think it's just amazing to read. This place of power has always been held by those who controlled world trade. I just find the author or whoever's like really getting into like motivations for what we do. Starting with the ancient caravan, it's just I just find it amazing, though. It is about imposing one's will upon the other when all else fails. It's fascinating. Starting with the ancient caravans to the ports of the Mediterranean and beyond, including the trading powers of Nineveh, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Carthage, Rome, Spain, Holland, France, and England. Yet again, I'm just like, this is just fantastic stuff. How many wars have been fought over trade between those various powers at different periods of history? In the end, the control that the English had over the world trade routes gave them access to the ore and coal that would make them a great industrial power. This and other fortunate circumstances have helped England control 2/3 of the world economy. Napoleon in his time knew this as well. That's why I'm loving these connections we're going to start seeing again. Remember about the Napoleonic ishness with the French, which makes sense. I mean, they're going to obviously connect the dots with their own hero from way back when. But you're going to start seeing, at least I start seeing here, I'm like, are the Germans trying to like relate as them being the Napoleon nowadays? I'm like, whoa, this is pretty wild. He directed much of his empire's efforts to the defeat of England on the seas, thus cutting it off from its colonies. I'm just like, it does start to seem like that. I don't know about you guys. He also created the continental system in an attempt to destroy England's ties to Europe. I don't know what that is. So if you guys know a little bit, you want to pop that in the comments and share it, that'd be awesome to hear or to read. 12, Napoleon also attempted to make treaties with Persia as he plotted to cut England off from India, which was a main source of its wealth. And I mean, it's not the same way, but you think about the Bureau of the Orient there and whatnot, and all the intrigues and trying to get Persia and the whole, that jihad against Britain and so on. So it's just neat. Anyways, and it was instigated, a lot of that, as we know, by the Kaiser and everybody else. After the destruction of the French fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar, Napoleon turned to the continent. Oh, maybe it's answering it for me. Turned to the continental system as a means of boycotting English goods. He sought to annihilate English trade with the German states. When Russia breached the system, Napoleon marched on Moscow in a campaign that was meant to connect the interior between Asia and the Baltic Sea, a goal that Napoleon failed to achieve. For England, this present war is nothing different than the war it waged 100 years earlier against Napoleon. Lloyd George said in a recent speech, when he spoke about the threat that the industry, trade, and seafaring of Germany poses towards the paramount position of England as the master of the world trade routes, even during times of peaceful competition. Thus, that is what we are dealing with, where we attempt to have a free trade with other nations and an even-handedness in accessing the world's resources through the growth of our own fleet. England sees only as a threat to its existence. England has never wanted either to allow access to a free trade marketplace or that deregulated free trade would prevail as the business standard for the world. I already showed you that one. Rather than peaceful competition, the English would rather have a belligerent confrontation. This fact brought us to the point of exasperation because of their non-consideration of human rights and their campaign of lies and slanders, leaving us infuriated. And when we now ask, why would our peace offer not be taken up? Why must we fight on further? We must know that besides our security from a repetition of a surprise attack by the belligerent English, it is also to accomplish the liberation of the world trade routes from their tyranny and to ensure the freedom of the seas for all peoples. It must be acknowledged by the world that Germany has enough power to endure in order to secure the freedom of the seas and to do so for the benefit of all humanity, bringing on a new era of peaceful competition. Thus, we battle not only to win an economic prize, but also for that highest cultural asset, the possibility of universal free development. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put in Tolemykus's thing here. And then I'm going to go back up at the very beginning because I want to talk a bit about it. We only got 3 minutes. Then we're going to go into the after hours. And like I said, we'll plop on the ATA that I recorded. And if I still feel okay, I'll just keep on trucking into the war summary. But that'll be done live. But we'll see. Maybe I'm not going to do it. We'll just let it at that. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I may record it later and just pop it on. I think that may be better. We'll see. And just give myself a break. But I wanted to get back to this, which is one thing. One thing is very clear, which is that neither article says anything about the assassination of Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary as being the cause of the war. And there, Tolemykus says they want capitulation, not confrontation. 100% Tolemykus. I think we've talked. Well, we can get rid of this now. Oh, sorry, the wrong thing. Or did I? Is there anything neat to show quickly? Let's take a look. Go back to the narrative. Was there anything that I really wanted to? Yeah, eventually we'll get back. We'll just look at this stuff at some point in time. Whatever. Let's get back to this. So I don't know what. It would be neat to find out when it turned when either side. Or maybe it's more the Allies, when it got to the point where they went, no, we've sacrificed so much, we've put in too much now, there's no more, there's not going to be a settled peace. We, like you said, Tolemykus, we want total capitulation here. We want that. And then yet again, even now, I think I'm sure it's an extra little towards it, and we've been seeing that over and over again in multiple places. Edith Wharton's written about it. We've seen it in Ernst Younger's Storms of Steel book multiple times from the British and from the German sources. Of course, the Germans are not going to blare it out, but how much destruction they did as they moved back towards the Hindenburg line, and that's got to have some extra impetus towards with the French saying, no way in hell are we doing a settled peace. We want the full on and full, we want you to pay for what you did to us. that type of stuff. Ooh, what did you put in here, William Arends? The English merchants could count on the British Navy for her safety and security, a real unpaid benefit from the kingdom to its merchant subjects. Yep, that's for flipping sure. I'm going to leave your thing on here. But I'm going to go into text mode and may go back. Well, I'm going to go back at least at the very end just to be live and probably say goodbye. But I don't think we're going to be doing I'll take it easy. Like I said, I'll record it later or whatever. So I'm going to, hold on. Let me stop the screen and then get it set up. We'll go back into the YouTube thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good hour here. For some of you guys that are going to zip off and do whatever's. If you are, I'm so glad you showed up. And I hope you have a great remainder of your weekend and a great week. But I want to slap on the ATA, the first installment, please. I know it was so weird, William Arends. Yesterday when I recorded your ATA, I went, oh, shoot. What the heck am I going to do for like the actual live stream? And then lo and behold, you popped in a second bit. And I was like, excellent. And then it was so big. I was like, well, wait a minute. I'll just chop it in half. And then we can, it worked out perfect. It worked out perfect. I'm so happy. So let me get into make sure we got it set up. Like I said, I'll be it's about 20 minutes long. So that makes sense. So we'll go on for about another 20 minutes recorded with the second bit of your ATA, William Arends. And then we'll see what I can't even remember what the heck I commented on about. Maybe I didn't say much. Maybe it's just reading. All right. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to turn off my microphone so you don't hear me farting around. And I'm going to do my thing here. All right, here's the ATA for live stream 118. Thanks a lot, William Arends. Here we go. Translator's note. Here are the articles about the war in the Western Theater and the U-boat operations. And just like I did last week as well, I've popped in those little footnote things just to little prompts to remind me if I need to talk about something specific. The other interesting thing is I find I have not recorded the war summary. I read it out. I have not recorded the war summary, and also did not provide anything for William Arends ahead of time. So I do apologize about that to William Arends about that, because it would have been nice to say, hey, this is a few things I saw, but also like I said before, I'm excited to see where this goes, where William Arends takes us, to see where he wants to explore with the Great War and bring it back. So I'm really excited, to be honest with you. So like I said, it's also neat as well. I'm starting to shift the focus, like I've said before, more towards other people's contributions. I just want to be, just want to hang out with you guys and talk about the Great War and gaming. That's really about it. All right, here we go. Berlin's latest news, Friday, the 27th of April, 1917, the morning edition. Further favorable results from the U-boat blockade. 55,000 recently sunk in the Mediterranean Sea. What I do find is interesting as well is this is a lot of focus on the Mediterranean Sea, which is really neat. But you're still, as far as I know, we're still going to hear a lot about the scariness, the British and whatnot. They're worried about the U-boats. We're going to, I think later on, you're going to see that when I'm probably going to have to read out the war summary. It's getting so late. I'll do that on a separate, whatever. It'll be part of the live stream. But anyways, here we go. Berlin, 26th of April, official. In recent days, 10 steamers and 6 sailing ships holding around 55,000 gross registered tons have been sunk in the Mediterranean Sea. Among them included as follows. I guess I should say GRT, so that way I don't have to do it later on. On the 5th of April, the armed English steamer, the City of Paris. I don't know about you guys, but don't you find it? It's almost like horse names. I find for ships. It's quite fascinating. I wonder if there's like books out there of like, why ships were named the way they are, or whatever. There's trends, or I don't know. Anyways, 9,239 GRT was sunk while underway from Bombay to Marseille with packages. On the 10th of April, the armed English steamer Dalton, 3,486 GRT, underway from Salonika to Malta, and the Italian steamer Porto di Rode, 2,480 GRT, underway from Alexander to Genoa with packages. On the 11th of April, the Greek steamer Meritos, 2,500 GRT with coal, underway from England to Port Said. On the 12th of April, the armed English steamer Kildare, 3,800 GRT with a load of coal. On the 15th of April, the armed English steamer Mashobra, 8,236 GRT, fully stocked with corn and foodstuffs, underway from India to Marseille. On the 16th of April, the English troop transport steamer of about 12,000 GRT, possibly belonging to the Orient Line in the Aegean Sea, and the Greek steamer Zenobia, 44,000 GRT, with coal from England to Italy. On the 17th of April, a heavy laden steamer of unknown origin of about 3,500 GRT. On the 18th of April, the armed steamer Rinaldo, 4,321 GRT, with coal possibly underway for Italy, and the sunken sailing ships that were mainly carrying loads of sulfur underway to an Italian port. A supplemental report made after it had returned to port has announced the results it had on the 16th of April of the U-boat success in the Mediterranean Sea against the following steamers. Just on a side note, because I'm, every time I see these dates, like the 16th of April, I'm thinking, okay, this is the first day of the Nivelle offensive going on, up in France. And this stuff, there's just so many things going on at once. The armed English steamer Britannia, 3,129 GRT, carrying cotton from Alexandria to Liverpool. The armed steamer Calliope, 3,829 GRT, carrying 5,100 tons of coal from Cardiff to Malta. The armed English steamer Trevista, 2,642 GRT, carrying 4,000 tons of coal from Cardiff to Alexandria. And the armed English steamer Tremorava, 3,674 GRT. The second English breakthrough attempt near Arras has been shattered. The English assault is spent. We've got to stop here very quickly, though, because you're going to see it monstrously later on when we take a look at some of the headlines. Well, even this week with the headlines, my jaw dropped because it's William Arends' ATA basically was confirmed by me just watching the latest edition for the Indian Idol Great War thing week to week that pertains to what's going on here. And it confirms just what is happening, that the British are not doing well at all what's going on right now. And of course, we know the Nivelle offensive just collapsed and whatnot. And it was interesting, actually, though, to read about a bit on the Nivelle offensive, listen to it on Indian Idol, saying that ironically, the Nivelle offensive did make some progress. However, Nivelle was so boastful about what could be achieved, and that since it didn't happen, and he put so much of his reputation on the line, it collapsed. Yeah, well, we saw this week. I mean, he was just quietly replaced, at least in the English newspapers, and Pétain's back, for goodness sakes. Here we go. The battle of, and so it's just so neat to see. Technically, well, it's still going to be a bit of a slant, obviously, but we're going to see, I think, a bit more of an accurate portrayal of what is actually going on right now with the Battle of Arras with the British and the Germans from German newspapers. At least it seems to be corroborated from the Indian Idol stuff. So right on, this is awesome stuff. The Battle of Arras, on the third day of that battle, has died down. The Englanders have only been able to take a few positions on the sector of the front on either side of the Scarpe River with their hard-driven attacks. These powerful attacks and the raging breakthrough attempts that they made were literally bloodied. Oh gosh, I've got to go and look up my things here. Number one, after our frontline troops who had recently seen action in the east told us that they themselves could only compare these English losses to the massive losses that the Russians had suffered in their attacks that had been made without artillery support. And I just put here, are they referring to the good old days of the Gorlitz-Tarnów breakthrough? I don't know. I really don't know what they're referring to, but it's food for thought as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, all the testimonies of the prisoners give the same clear understanding of how horribly the English battalions have been completely deteriorated. And here I put, can we find supporting evidence in either the Globe newspaper or other accounts? And ironically, when I hadn't watched the Indy Nidell thing yet, and ironically, it corroborates what we're seeing a bit here, that it's supporting evidence. So I love this stuff. Anyways, here we go. Keep on trucking. Fourth day of the Battle of Arras. As had happened on the third day of this battle, so the enemy, after their heavy losses, were not able to succeed in their undertakings on this fourth day as well. The defending German troops held by force almost all the sectors of the battlefront that they had possessed in the previous days. Translator's note. Here are two more articles. The first, a frontline report from the Battle of Arras and the region of Champagne from the 28th of April, and the second, a report from the higher headquarters from the 30th of April. Most of these types of reports tend to repeat the same kind of self-congratulatory statements about the invincibility of the German troops and the vulnerability of the English soldiers and French formations that have attempted to attack the trench lines of the Reichswehr. Berlin's latest news, Saturday, 28th of April, 1917. Oh, we're going to have some juicy bits about Baron von Richthofen in a minute there. So thank you, William Arends. A heavy artillery exchange from Arras up to the Champagne. Berlin, 27th of April, evening report, official. On the Arras front, in particular sectors, heavy fire has ceased. Along the Arras-Cambrai road, a renewed British attack has been turned back with losses. Lengthwise, on the Aisne and in the Champagne, there was a heavy exchange of artillery. Northwest from Saint-Quentin, the enemy infantry troops who were moving in the direction of Tresco and Villers-Puich have been driven back by the effective artillery fire from our batteries. East of Hagricourt, an enemy patrol was intercepted. In the late afternoon, animated enemy artillery activity occurred in this sector of the war front. After a fierce preparatory artillery fire northerly of Villeret, there was an unsuccessful attack on our advanced positions. The city of Saint-Quentin fell under heavy artillery fire again. On the Aisne and in the Champagne, there were heavy artillery battles in particular sectors. Hold on, I'm going to look up what number 3 is all about here. Oh, it's way off into this thing here. Enemy trenches known to be densely occupied came under our effective artillery fire. I think I put that down as I think was probably just due to the fact that I was assuming that this is interesting. Like, how are they getting these spotting bits for the effective artillery fire? And is this? I'm not sure if it's the Germans. Maybe it's the Russians. Darn it! I have to go and take a look. But there's someone that's using new artillery methods that they're incorporating, and I'm like, oh, I will have to look. I'm not sure if it's the Russians or the Germans, but anyways, that kind of got me into this. And secondly, just due to the fact that we know that the German strategy right now, it seems to be with their airplanes, is to stay behind their lines and let the British and whatnot come towards them, and then they count how many planes, send more up than they got, and so on and so forth. I'd like to know how they're getting this effective artillery fire. Like I said, is it just better methods over time or whatever? Anyways, advanced enemy patrols have been turned away. Several of those reconnaissance patrols were captured. Later in the afternoon, the enemy artillery, particularly in the vicinity of Cernay and southern part of Corvinus, became more intense. Easterly from Ferme de Hurtelbise, advancing troops armed with hand grenades were rebuffed. The reconstituted heavy enemy formations on both sides of the Bray were seen and targeted. Yet again, I want to know how they were seen and targeted. That's all. I just would like to know, so I'm probably have to go and look up some books, and which I probably won't do, but I'm just saying I would like to do that. In the evening and through the night, the enemy artillery fire continued in the vicinity of Cernay and in the area south of Craonne. The apparently intentionally coordinated massive French operations against the highlands of the Chemin des Dames led to a wavering partial clash of arms, which is the Nivelle offensive. In the vicinity of Bray, the response to the French attack was its suppression by fully effective German gunfire. A still more forcefully heavy artillery barrage around 9 p.m. had turned back a French attack south of the sugar factory in Savenay with heavy losses, and in the same way counteracted heavy probing assaults near Ferme de Tid-Bits. Also in the vicinity of Beret-en-Bac and on either side of Prosnay, the artillery fire became more intense. There, the enemy forces were able to maintain themselves at full strength. On the banks of the Meuse, there was lively artillery fire in the evening. An enemy bombing attack to the rear of our front had no success. Berlin's latest news, Monday, the 30th of April, 1917, evening edition. From our headquarters, the higher headquarters, 30th of April. The Western Theater of War, the army group of the Crown Prince Ruprecht. After the great English attack was shattered on the 28th of April, the Englanders attempted only a single attack against Opie, north of the road from Douai to Arras. In 4 separate attempted assaults against the hotly contested village, their strength was exhausted. The village remains in our hands. On both banks of the Scarpe, a heavy artillery battle took place. The estimated number of the losses of the English from the 28th of April, that was carefully enumerated to be over 6,000 men that fell either at or in front of our positions. Besides that, our troops brought in over 1,000 prisoners with 40 of their machine guns. 10 of their armored vehicles were destroyed. I'm assuming those are tanks. The army group of the German Crown Prince, an aggressive French reconnaissance unit yesterday morning, sought to achieve success through a destructive fire aimed at our positions near Berry-en-Bac, at Bremont, and north of Rennes. I just popped that in about aggressive French reconnaissance unit because at first I didn't understand. I wasn't sure if they meant like airplanes and whatnot, but then later on it says well, you'll see here. Our entrenched troops turned back this assault. I just find that I would like to know more about yet again. I just find this stuff juicy. Anyways, since noon, the shooting along the line from Soissons up the Snipes has again increased in intensity without a pause. In the evening hours, this activity reached an ever higher rate of fire. The action became less intense later in the night, but then it grew again to its previous strength in the early light of the dawn. The army group of Duke Albrecht, nothing to report. Our opponents on the Western Front lost 11 airplanes on the 28th of April. 11 in one day. Holy moly. That gets worse. They lost another 23 airplanes on the 29th of April, and besides that, 3 stationary balloons. Both our pilots and our air defense cannons took part in these results. I just popped that in because I just find it a really interesting term, air defense cannon. That night of the skies, there he is. Holy moly, did he ever have a nice little while here, eh? That night of the skies, the Baron von Richthofen has earned his 48th, 49th, 50th, 51st, and 52nd victories in air battles, all dogfights. We're not talking balloons here. And the fighting flyer who belongs to the same unit, Lieutenant Wolf, shot down his 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th enemy aircraft. Holy smokes. Reconnaissance patrols and bombing raids were led by our pilots deep towards the enemy positions in France between the Somme and the North Sea and the sectors of the Aisne front to the southern banks of the Marne. To say this, I hope to God we talk about this, connecting the dots later on in the early bits of the live stream and maybe potentially in the war summary. That'd be awesome. Because there's some good stuff there. Anyways, the Eastern Theater of War, the situation is unchanged. Macedonian front between Prespa Lake and Cerna, lively artillery fire. Yes, and we got this is going to be nice to see because this is opposite. Well, it's not. It's a different take on what's going on down in the Macedonian front, and yet again, it seems like the Germans are getting a bit more or portraying it a bit more accurately than what's going on actually down there. I think the Bulgarians are doing quite good right now. Remember that I think way back when, I can't remember the general there, he was been spending all winter getting them set up real good, and the British were like, oh shoot. Anyways, between Prespa Lake and Cerna, lively artillery fire. Remember, fact checker. An English pilot was brought down by our battle squadron as he attempted to return to his base after a successful air raid he conducted against our camps and the train tracks in the Cerna Curve. Just curious if we could figure that out. Sure you can. Like, who was that English pilot? The first General Quartermaster Ludendorff. Is that it? Sure, there was some more stuff I wanted to chat about on this. Jeez, I could have sworn there is. I guess there isn't. Maybe it went into the live stream bits. Thank you so much, William Arends. I hope everybody has a great remainder of their weekend and a great week. And hope to see you. Well, it's going to be quite some time. 3 weeks from now, because I've got a lot of things to do. Anyways, that's it. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye. Boink. And I'm back, kind of. Yeah, I won't do the, I'll end the show now. So that way everybody can go and relax and so on and so forth. And I will record the war summary later, and I'll just put it on as a separate video, which I did last week. And I think I'll keep doing that. And like right now, I'm just going to go and turn the William Arends' translation attrition, the ATA, into public linking. So it's not just connected to the live stream. Great to see you, Meandering, Mike. Well, that makes I know, I was thinking about that as well. Oh yeah, that's right. Of course, you've got your show. I've got the war room. Is that it? That yes, that's what I was thinking. Yes, Tolemykus, it was a recording, so I'm going to do that as well. For the war summary. Okay, that's it. Hope you guys have a great remainder of your weekend. I hope you have a nice, relaxing nap. Meandering Mike, thanks again for the T-shirt. That was so touching. You have no idea. I was absolutely blown away. And I wanted to share it with everybody. That's for sure. I hope you have a great remainder of your week, and I'll see you guys in other formats. Thanks again. Bye, guys. Oh, William Arends, you are the bomb, man. The bomb. You are full on. All the way here. We are all the way, man. Oh, thanks again. See you later.